Three. What's up, guys? This is John Daw with iHeartAnxiety, and we are back for round two. I've got the infamous Johnny Bravo. He is our reigning champion because there are no challengers right now. He is the very first on the interviewer list. So we're going to go ahead and get this started. Not going to lie, we've started this film probably about 2 or 3 times already, so we are ready to talk. We are ready to get this train rolling.
Oh yeah.
And both of our favorite topics of conversation is me, so we're happy to talk about it. Uh, you know, we really love talking about me. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get started. Basically, how it's gonna work is I'm going to kind of go over my childhood. We're not gonna. I've already shared bits and pieces of myself on previous videos on my vlog, so I'm gonna try not to make this too long. We definitely didn't intend for the last video to be an hour, but it could have been 2 hours if we really wanted it to be. But I'm going to try to make this probably in the 30-minute range. And, obviously I'm not going to shoot for 30 minutes, but we're going to try to make it less than an hour for sure. But at any rate, let me get right into it. This is very nerve-wracking. I am, obviously a person that has anxiety and has things that I worry about. And obviously, when I started doing all of this, I knew that there was obviously a chance that people were going to judge me because they don't know me. And obviously, it's the internet, so you're going to have the blessed Facebook thugs and things like that. So I will just, put it out there. Obviously, if you want to comment, like, subscribe, you can do that. But we're going to keep on doing this about once or twice a week. It may not be Johnny, but at least, we're going to have some kind of interviewer, type interaction. So let me get started here. Basically, to put it in a nutshell, I started probably feeling anxiety when I was a small boy. I never knew what anxiety was. I never knew. My mom actually had anxiety ever since I have been alive and could recollect. But she never talked about it. She never really, she never said anything. She went through her bouts of anxiety and depression and whatnot, but never really explained it. And boy, let me tell you what, when it hit me hard. So, and I was unaware of what I was going through and what was happening. But to start off, I didn't know that this was anxiety until after, like, looking back at it now. But when I was a kid, I would get what a lot of people would call the bubble guts, where I would eat or drink something and my stomach would feel really kind of bubbly, like maybe I was nauseous and going to throw up. And that would make me extremely nervous. So I would get up from wherever I was, in someone's house, in a restaurant, wherever, and I would have to go walk it off. I'd literally have to leave because I felt so nervous, people being around me and seeing that I might actually throw up. So that was the first type of anxiety that I've ever, felt, and I didn't even know what it was. Um, Kind of skipping ahead a little bit. Again, my mom's still dealing with her issues, anxiety, depression, frustration at her own, life. She did the best that she could, given that she was toting around a 5, 6-year-old around to all these different places. She was a kid when she left home, and it was, I can imagine how hard it must have been to try to raise someone, and I don't think she was ready. Unfortunately, I hate to say it. This isn't going to be a a piece about, how much I resent, what she did or anything like that. But I definitely, if I were in her situation, would have done things a little differently. And I think we can all say that now as, as older adults and whatnot. But, oh boy, man, childhood was not a pretty picture for me. We were not the, middle class family. We were we're more the poor class. Lights would get shut off sometimes. We'd have to live in places with other people. That created a lot of anxiety, a lot of, that I wasn't even aware of that was happening. And, obviously when this stuff was going on, mom was feeling this way as well. So she would therein get mad at me, take it out on me. And it wasn't the nicest of life to live in. And I really think that's kind of where I started to probably develop these unconsciously, these anxieties and phobias of things happening, watching her go through it and subliminally, I don't even know if I said that right, but subconsciously watching her do it, and then kind of probably manifesting on myself. But then again, they do say that anxiety is hereditary, so maybe I just had the gene to begin with. So we fast forward to a little bit more. I'm a not preteen. I'm a teen, 15 years old or so, and uh, I haven't been hit yet with anything major. I'm still having the issues with the food, but nothing really of consequence. I'm going to the beach all the time. I'm driving. I'm doing all of this, and then I like to enter, or I like to call this next stage of life my mom's a vacation. She was gone out of my life for 4 years. It really took a toll on me because I never had a father figure. There was never a father in my life. My dad died when he was really young. I was 4, so I was also really young. So I never really had a father figure other than my grandfather, who was up until and up until I was in my later teens, he was always gone because his work had him traveling out of town. So I really never had a father figure. I was always wanting a dad, but I never got the one that I wanted until later. Um, he came into the picture later. He's my stepdad, and he's done the best that he could. He's never been a father either, so he's kind of learning as we go along too. So I just shout out to him for trying to be there for me. And then like I said, mom kind of goes into this without telling me what's going on, into this vacation. We get separated, and I pretty much grow up from junior to senior, all the way through actually past senior year, without a mom or a dad. So this really takes a toll on me. One night at Blockbuster is where it all changed. I hit a really hard wall, and it was not breaking. I pretty much hit it, and I didn't even know I was going to hit it. I was just standing at work at Blockbuster at the time, and I was just at the cash register checking someone out, and all of a sudden I get hit with this really bad spinning sensation. The room's spinning. I feel like I'm spinning. I have to sit down. And it turns out later I would find out that it's vertigo. I've never had it before. I didn't, the only time you ever felt anything like this is whenever you're a kid and you spin around really fast to kind of, just to mess around. And it really hit me hard. I didn't have my family that I had grown up with. I didn't really have I didn't know what was going on. I felt really, really, really scared, freaked out, and it really made me, it would set me up for what's going on today. After that, I pretty much got worse and worse every day, little by little. I would start not wanting to take car rides so long. I'd want to get out of the car. I'd want to not be somewhere for too long. I didn't like open spaces. Just basically your true blue panic attack disorder. I would get these, if you've ever been really scared, if something ever really scared you, like you were walking down a hall and somebody just jumped out from behind you and you just got your heart leapt and you were just all of a sudden you were just really scared. That is what a panic attack is, but it doesn't stop. The panic attack doesn't stop. It stays there, and you stay in that sense, you stay in that heart rate, you stay in that sense of fear, like something's coming to get you for at least a minute, and you have to calm yourself down with whatever is around you. You have to, cry. You have to, whatever it is that calms you down. And because it's a mental attack. You can't, it's not a broken leg where you can just say, sit down for a while, it'll heal, you'll be fine, take these pain medications, it'll go away. No, this was mental, and I had no clue how to deal with this. And I I wish that I could have gone back to my younger self and told my younger self, hey, you need to start, while I was noticing about the throwing up, fear of throwing up, I wish I would have started then to go to therapy and kind of to get myself ready to cope with this type of thing. Because once I hit this vertigo, man, let me tell you what, I almost failed high school. I literally, that was my senior year, and I almost fell out of a class. And if I would have failed out of that class, it was so close. I wouldn't have graduated. And I'm not even entirely convinced that the teacher that was my failing class didn't just bump it up a little bit for me to make sure I passed. I don't even know if that, like, I hate to say that, but I almost feel like that could have happened.
Right.
So this happens. I'm a complete mess. Nobody, not even my own girlfriend that I've been going out with since 8th grade, could really understand what was going on. She had no clue. I was a mess. I couldn't really go a lot of places anymore. Um, I was super depressed. I wasn't, the person that I used to be. Um, and this just kept on manifesting and manifesting. Luckily, I have a really good support system. People didn't just leave me. They didn't understand, but they didn't leave me. The guy that you're
Right.
seeing on the other end of the video, we actually, while never growing up together, we grew up together. He was going through stuff while he was getting out of high school, and we helped each other out a lot. He never left. He never just said, you know what, dude, you're kind of freaking me out. I don't know if I want to deal with this. Like just you, I just, I know we're talking on here and it's a live thing, but I do not apologize, but I appreciate all the stuff that you did do for me, buddy. It does make a difference. Um, I I don't know. I was going through a really hard time, and nobody really understood. Everybody thought, because when this happens to somebody who's so different, I mean, I was outgoing. I was doing stuff, and then for me to all of a sudden go to this, it seems like, okay, are you just faking it? Like you really just not want to go and do stuff. You just being a kind of a wimp, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's kind of funny because like now that you mention it, like it is kind of like becoming a realization for me that that we did talk before you like I think really we really did talk before this actually started hitting you, and even to this day like I still struggle with like the way you are and the way things happen to you. Like I feel for you, I genuinely do. It's just I've been with you this whole time, and it's still like hard for me to still because like I'm not saying you hide it on purpose, but you definitely like you keep it well, like you keep yourself together. And even when I know you're going through bouts of you're some type of anxiety, like oh man, hang on, I need to chill for a second. The room's kind of spinning. Even at those times, I'm just kind of like I don't realize the severity of that situation. Like sometimes it could be like one of your minor episodes or like a really heavy episode. But it's just weird that I've known you since like I said in the video yesterday, like I've known you since you were like, fast car driving teenager, and now it's like here we are today, and it's just kind of even for somebody who's been with you along this roller coaster, it's still hard for me to contemplate like how this genuinely affects you, even though you've explained it to me multiple times.
I know. I understand. It's not easy to explain. I do feel like, you know, it's crazy because when you're this way, you have a hard time explaining it to other people because you can barely explain it yourself. You don't really know why this is happening to you. You don't understand what these feelings are and why you keep getting these spouts of panic. Like these, I can't tell you how many times I've thought to myself, why am I afraid? I am now to the point where I'll watch a football game. I love football. I love watching football. But if my team's on the video, like if my team is playing, I will get myself so worked up that I start to have a panic attack. That's how bad it
Hmm.
is. I will literally work myself up because I'm engaged, right? Like I'm thinking, okay, oh my God, don't you did this? Oh my, like I'm watching the game like
Right, right, right.
anybody would, and I'm starting to react to what's happening. It is now to the point where I'm not allowed, like, not, it's not that I'm not allowed, but my body is so sensitive to my emotions that if I get too upset, if I get too cry or like, cry too much or like
Hmm.
I get too mad or whatever, it starts to mess with me. Like I start to mess with my head and it really starts to like send me into a panic mode
Right.
because of I'm for whatever reason I'm getting hot. I'm uncomfortable, whatever. So it's like I'm not even allowed to live my life the way that I want to live it, because if I get too emotional one way, too happy,
Hmm.
if I laugh too much, if I start getting red in the face, I'm laughing so hard,
Hmm.
even that can trigger it. So
Right.
it's not as bad as the anger one, but it's like I'm not even allowed to be who I am because this panic has a hold of me. It has some kind
Right.
of, it's almost like you're not okay. You can be alive, but don't push yourself. Don't do anything. Like it's almost if you're sitting in a chair and someone tells you, yeah, you're in therapy, but don't try to get up and walk too much. You're not. It's not going to
Hmm.
get any. Just chill. So I can't just be myself. I have to worry about whether or not I'm going to send myself into a panic attack. So
Hmm.
I don't know. That's where we are today because I've been dealing ever since that happened. Ever since the night of vertigo, it's been getting progressively worse. Where I don't want to leave, and now to the point where I hardly leave at all, and it it's because I'm too afraid of what might happen. If it's not that I'm afraid of what's outside, I'm afraid of what will happen inside of me while I'm out there and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not around my comfort zone. One of my worst fears is being in a place like Walmart and all of a sudden going into vertigo and having the room spinning and I can't do it. I'm stuck in a crowd of people and I can't go anywhere, you
Right.
know, and I'm just stuck there.
Hmm.
I'm just stuck there in vertigo, and that somebody could take advantage, steal my wallet, or somebody could start. Obviously, there's all these irrational thoughts that you have in your head, but you start to think of what could happen if that happened. How are the people around you going to react? Are they going to try to help you? Or are they going to try to steal your wallet? Are they going to try to kick you while you're down? What is it? So
Right.
I don't know. It's gotten to the point where meditation, life realization, and daily healthy habits are what bringing me back. Like finding finding out that I am the captain of my own ship and that I can't
Hmm.
worry about too much of what other people think of me. And that includes, my wife, my best friends, my family. They have their opinions on what is going on with me. They have their opinions of how I should live my life and what I should be doing.
Hmm.
And not to mention, I mean, I didn't even go into the fact that I have been with the same woman since 2005. I've
Hmm.
been with my wife since we were in eighth grade, and I can't even tell you how lucky I am that she has stuck with me this entire time. It hasn't been easy. We haven't had it. It definitely she. Oh my gosh, this must have been so hard on her when it started happening because this is not the person that she started dating. But obviously
Hmm.
she won't. She wouldn't say it like that. She would just say that obviously we had to change plans. But
Right. Right.
I don't know. I mean, basically, in a nutshell, after all of that, I am just now, after 2008, recovering to a point where I can see myself in a positive light and see that this is normal and reach out to people and, and actually and get the help that I need. So,
Hmm.
having said all that, has anything at all changed of your opinions?
No, I mean it's genuinely opened my eyes a little bit more. I mean, this is actually a more in-depth conversation that we've ever had on
Right.
the subject because it's not something like we really want to bring up. That's not how we hang out. That's not how we really talk on a normal basis. Um, I just I feel for you, and I'm glad that things are finally coming back together. Or to an extent to where you feel like you're more in control now than you were before, which is phenomenal. I just can't wait to follow you in your progression. My only question is like, what is your next step? What is our next step? Like, what can I do to help? Because as somebody who struggles with his own type of mental anxiety or heavy, copious amounts of OCD, um, uh, no one can help me with mine. My OCD is just something that I've either got to just struggle with or just not deal with or just not do in general. But
You
like
don't
I'm
believe
just
that
wondering
there's
how
help?
I can for my OCD.
Yeah, you don't believe that somebody could possibly, help you with the tendencies?
See, maybe I'm just in complete denial about it, but I'm actually not seeking help for it. I'm just kind of because it flares up and it flares down. It's just sometimes it's really bad to where it's like crippling, and then other times it's so minuscule or blasé, or that the situation itself is like so easy and that I've done it so many times that it's like, oh, it's just it's a normal thing for me. So I'm not really seeking help for my OCD, and I'm just kind of like letting it be. Until it, I guess until it starts making my wife pull her hair out of her head, then I guess I'll seek some help.
I understand.
But
I
as of
understand.
now, it's not to that point. But I'm just trying to. I'm still struggling with with how, like, I don't know how you can live your everyday life like that, considering like like we've talked about, I'm a social butterfly. My job requires me to be around copious amount of people. Um, and not only that, it's high stress, high strain, high stress situations, whether it be with like officers or like a really big customer or something.
No, I understand what you're saying. I trust me. You are not explaining anything to me that I have not already tried to explain to myself. I
Right.
Johnny, when I tell you that this is a lonely disease, I mean it's a lonely disease. You literally you contemplate every option in the book. You say, okay, do I deserve to be here?
Right.
Do I how do I change this? I mean, obviously, I can't tell when these are going to happen. I can't tell when this, anxiety is going to flare up. Uh, what do I do? Because everything, if I try to get a job, when I was working on base, I worked there for 2 years, and I finally had to quit that job because I was literally going to work every single day delivering the mail, and
Hmm.
I would freak out. Like I was freaking out going down. I mean, you've obviously been on a naval installation, military installation,
Hmm.
and they've got really big buildings with really long hallways, and
Hmm.
they're very if you are any kind of person who is either claustrophobic or anxiety ridden, it's kind of a snake pit, right? Like it's kind of you get lost in there sometimes. So
Hmm.
that kind of thing would set me off, and I was constantly under stress. It was stressing out, everything. I mean, I thought that maybe I could quit the job, and it would just magically make things better, and that it would relieve anxiety and it would relieve everything. But the actual opposite happened. After that, I have never worked a job for more than like 5 or 6 months
Right.
because I let myself quit. I um, I detached myself from having to leave the house. So I
Hmm.
eventually got to a point where I hardly ever leave. And
Hmm.
uh, when you're going through this, your first initial response is, okay, I know what's stressing me out. Stay away
Hmm.
from that.
Hmm.
Don't deal with that because obviously that's what's that. I mean, come on, John. It makes sense. If you're going to work and it's stressing you out, don't go to work. Go
Hmm.
get a job from home. Figure that out.
Well, see,
So,
that's the thing that confuses me is like, so in my personal anxiety, if I were to do exactly what you're mentioning, um, I would be probably 100% where you are, well, if not worse. I feel like so my argument to you is, I know you're dealing with these things. I know it's really hard. I'm right there with you. But you can't keep chopping off things like that. You're chopping off little pieces of your life when you do things like that, and that's what's frustrating to me. I don't want to see you do that. But I also see your side of the fence. Like I see your struggle. I see why like you can't you feel like that's the easier way out. That this will help me.
let me
If I
preface by
stop doing
saying that
this,
that was before. I'm not. That's not the way it is now.
okay. Okay. Yeah.
So that was whenever I was thinking, that's what I meant to say. Whenever this started, when this whole thing started, you don't know anything. I didn't know anything about it. So your first
Right.
initial response is to get away from whatever is causing you distress. Get away from
Okay.
whatever is, causing you pain. So I
Right.
dealt with it for 2 years and I was like, okay, well, I mean, it's been 2 years and I'm still not feeling any better. So
Hmm.
But what I didn't understand is I wasn't dealing with even though I was forcing myself to go to work, I wasn't actually dealing with the problem. I was just hoping that it was just going to go away on its own while I was at work. So
Okay.
what I hope to tell people now is don't just assume that because you are getting away from the problem that you think is causing your anxiety, that
Hmm.
you are just going to magically get better. This takes work. This takes a lot of therapy, possibly even medication for some people. And don't let anybody tell you that medication is bad, because obviously, if you need the medication, only you can really say whether or not you need the medication. Don't let anybody
Hmm.
tell you that you're weak because you had to seek help, you had to take a
Hmm.
Xanax, or you had to take something to help you cope. That is not the case. If you're taking care of the problem that you're having, and you're doing it the right way with therapy, exercise, food choices, nobody can
Right.
tell you anything. So hear me when I say this. Do not be afraid to ask for help. This is what I'm doing right now. Whenever I'm talking to Johnny like this, or whenever we're discussing things of this nature, or I'm making videos on my own, this is me
Hmm.
reaching out now. This is me telling people about my problem and trying to figure out how I can save it, how I can get around this. And just doing this, just being here and doing this has helped me tremendously. This is helping me see a
Right.
whole nother side. So I I just want to say, please do not run away from your problems. Run towards the problem, because
Hmm.
that is a misconception that I killed my life with. I killed it, and it ruined part of my marriage. It ruined my relationship with my grandparents. It ruined my relationship with my mom. It ruined my relationship with some of my friends. Uh, it Even though you didn't do this to yourself, and it's not your fault. Let me just say that it's not your fault. You did not do this to yourself, but you are in charge of righting the ship. You are in charge of making sure you get back to land. So if this is happening, please seek attention, go somewhere, get therapy, start meditating. Like I've told you guys before, get into a hobby, do something that makes you passionate. This right here is not going to cure me of my anxiety, but it is definitely going to get me back to harbor. It's not going to get me into harbor, but it's going to get me back to harbor. And I can already start to see the lighthouse, if you will. Okay? So basically, having said all that, would you agree that maybe that if people would just kind of slow down a little bit and start thinking, is that a problem? Actually, you know what? That's a dumb question, because obviously we know that if you take care of the problem, it's gonna, it's gonna get taken care of. But
Hmm.
here's the real thing. Do you think that maybe it's because people, like we've seen so many years, there's so many stigmas. There's just too many stigmas where if you say that you're not feeling well, you're depressed,
Hmm.
you have anxiety, you have something wrong with you inside, maybe we
Hmm.
just automatically assume that we're supposed to buck up and get away from the problem and not talk about it because we're told to shut it away.
Mm, yeah. I mean, in today's, well, I wouldn't even say in today's society. I feel like things have really increased as far as like sensitivity towards other people's issues, even issues that are blind to everyone else. Like no one's just going to come up to you and assume that because you look like you're having a panic attack in the middle of Walmart. I honestly don't think as many people as you think are going to take advantage of you, like take your wallet or like just look at you like, oh well, he's going insane. That's none of my business, and walk away. I feel like as our society has grown to lend that helping hand now, um, I don't think anybody would bother you. I think you'd be all right.
I think, okay, look, I totally understand, and this is the part of the conversation that's really going to
Yeah.
be the meat and potatoes. So this
Okay.
you need to take a walk in a mental health issue, like in somebody else's shoes, because even
Mhm.
though you see on the outside that there's all these
Mhm.
programs and that there are things that people are saying, hey, we'll help you if you have a problem. Sure, that's there, but social
Mhm.
media and peer pressure is still very much alive, and it's still very much
Mhm.
a thing to where you get ridiculed, and people are still hounding you because of the choices that you make or the decisions that you say, I don't want to go out, or I have I have panic attacks or whatever, you need to go into a support group and look at all these people that are still getting bullied. I mean, we're not talking about people that are just saying this, like just, okay, I'm going to tell you guys a story. We're talking about text messages, phone
Mm-hmm.
chats. When you join these anxiety groups or these mental illness groups, these people will provide you with actual proof where people are being complete assholes to them
Mm-hmm.
just because of the physical condition that or excuse me, the mental condition that they're experiencing. So while
Mm-hmm.
I understand where you're coming from, and I definitely see where maybe you would think that we're becoming more understanding, and yes, I absolutely agree that as we progress every year, mental health is
Mm-hmm.
definitely becoming more of a less of a stigma.
Mm-hmm.
But in no way do I agree that it is any less hard to be somebody with mental health issues. So
I guess because I hide mine so well that like when I mention to people that I have like a crazy OCD, they're like, "What, really? Like you?" Like because that's me behind my closed doors, and that's not something I bring to people. Um, yeah, I have a few individuals that I work with that would they'd call you a wimp or you're a baby, just suck it up kind of thing. But I think as the person with the issue, we need to be stronger than them, and that it just it's hard to tell someone don't let it affect you because I can say that to somebody all day. It doesn't mean it's going to help them. That's just like me saying don't be a wimp about it. I see it being the same meaning and it's just as insulting, unfortunately. And that's not how I mean to come off. Um, but I just I don't know. I wish it was easier for you all to come forward and admit to these things and seek help, but maybe we're just maybe some of us just aren't seeking the right avenue, or maybe I don't know. That's a struggle for me.
this,
I have
right,
it's a hard comment.
this right here is the problem. You know what I mean? Like this is why we're talking about this, because this is the problem. It's the two sides trying to meet, trying to converge and find a common ground, because obviously you've got really sensitive people over here on the emotional side, on the the mental health
Hmm.
side, and then you've got
Hmm.
the people who I would say that either A, they've only experienced some of it, maybe a headache
Hmm.
or two or something that made them sad for a little while, and they like, for example, you have OCD. Yes, it affects your
Hmm.
life, but not in a way to where you have to change your career or change anything about your life drastically, right? And
Hmm.
then you also have, your what else? What was that thing? What did you call it? The OCD, and then
Uh,
social
Test
anxiety.
anxiety.
Oh, test anxiety. That's right, test anxiety. For some
Yeah.
reason, I keep thinking social anxiety, but uh, those things you're able to kind of like, you don't have to, these aren't things that are coming up in your mind every day, like you deal with them short bursts of time and then it's over with. You don't have to really switch anything around, you don't have to change your lifestyle
Right.
for it. So when you have something like that, you don't understand that these people, us on the other side, are dealing with this 24/7. We're thinking about these things every single day.
Hmm.
And when we see you guys, on the other side, basically saying, listen, I understand. Like, this is one of the worst things that I think that people can say when they're trying to be understanding. Uh, Listen, I get it. I understand that you're going through something really tough, first of all.
Hmm.
And this is not, I'm not pointing this to you, but I'm just talking about in general. First of all, you don't understand what I'm going through, so don't patronize me and say that you understand what I'm going through
Hmm.
because you haven't been through what I'm going through. Just like I wouldn't say
Hmm.
I understand your test anxiety. It makes sense.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is, when people say that, what they're basically, either they say it like this, they say it, okay, I understand, and then there's always the dreaded but that follows it. Okay,
Right.
I understand what you're going through, and it sounds like it's really tough, but I think you just need to pick yourself up and just just do it. Just pick yourself up and pull and plug along. Just keep going. Don't worry about this.
Hmm.
Stop trying to focus on the negative. You're being too negative. You're too
Hmm.
this, you're too that. But what they don't understand is these people with these emotional problems, these emotional, mental health issues, you can't just tell us to just stop thinking about it, to stop doing it, because again, you don't know what it's like to have these thoughts every single day about this anxiety, this chronic depression, bipolarism, schizophrenia,
Hmm. Hmm.
all kinds of issues. So I just wish that there was a way, like we were talking about before, that we could prep our generations for handling people that are different, that are not able to handle their emotions exactly like you are, and who
Hmm.
do need maybe a little bit of a helping, not, and we're not even asking for you guys to pick us up, and take us by the hand and show us the way. That's not what we're asking for. We're asking for compassion and not to be judged. That's the only thing we're asking for.
Well, see that there's what I guess frustrates the opposite side of the fence is here we are. We may not be the most understanding folk, and I'm going to go ahead and put myself on the other side because we both know that's where I belong. Because I can hide my issues other than my test anxiety. Unfortunately, but see, when you say that you don't want us to admit that we know how you feel, and I get that, but as a person who doesn't understand, that's our only approach to even start to adjust that conversation or come to the person with
So
the
we need
issue.
education.
Like,
We need education.
well, the education, like, so what are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna just go to a liberal arts college and start a course for this? I just don't
There's
understand
no
that.
liberal.
Like,
No. This isn't a politics thing. This isn't some liberal versus conservative thing. This is
no, no,
just,
no. I'm just saying, like, arts college. You know how I am.
well, no. I just mean, look, and again, it's not. It's again. I'm not telling you that we should take people by the hands and start doing everything for them. I'm not saying that, but I think there needs to be a course on human emotion, human empathy, human compassion. I'm not telling you guys that you need to
Hmm.
go to a class to learn how to be a little Care Bear, and just like and put on a skirt and whatever, and be a because I know that's what a lot of people think. They think that okay, well, I'm not a sissy man or anything like that. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so what I'm saying is, it's not that I believe that people should become necessarily more feminine or more
Hmm.
sensitive, like oh, we need more estrogen or we need more hormones to help us do. That's not what I'm talking about. I just mean education on what it is, what these issues are, why people can't just turn it off, and what you could do to help someone if they're having an issue, if they're having like a full blown panic attack, if they're having just like as if you were going to EMT school and you were learning how
Hmm.
to help somebody who's having a heart attack. This.
Right, right, right. But you're asking everybody in society to have to go to this class, and
Yeah, absolutely.
that's not, yeah, but that's not something that people will make time for. Even the people who aren't as like, I'll go ahead and call myself as insensitive as everybody else. I'm not, me personally on a personal level. I'm not a big masculine person. Like, I'm not all about, like, blah, 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 football and you know men shouldn't wear pink and all that other stupid stuff. But it frustrates me when you say, like, well, we take what you just said as an insult, like you don't want to be helped up, but like, if I'm taking a risk on myself and putting myself out there to you to try to lend that helping hand, and then
No, I'm
the
not
the
telling you
person I'm
that we're
trying to help goes on the offensive and says, well, that offends me. That you can't
no.
just tell me to stop and turn it off.
Yes, you're missing the point. I'm not telling you
No,
that
no.
that we're gonna say we don't want your help. I'm not. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that just like you would learn how to, and I don't think that this is just for mental health. Like, I understand that this
Hmm.
comes across as everyone should stop what they're doing and learn how to deal. But here's the thing: if this was if these were like small cases and like only small populations of the world were like
Hmm.
the way that we are, but we're talking about
Hmm.
in America alone, there is about like I think the numbers close to 50% of people have some form of anxiety or mental health issue. Something that creates a problem with their daily lives, and they feel like they can't talk about it or they can't ask anyone, if you would just please not do this, or if you wouldn't
Right.
say it like something like this, because they're afraid that they will get then ousted.
Well, see, that's what I don't understand is why not open up. you got to open yourself up sometimes. I mean,
because
like I don't care if you think you're gonna get stabbed in the heart, you probably are, but go for it. You've gotta get out there. You have to seek that. I'm not saying it's attention. You can't seek attention. I don't want that to be the thing. Like, because people from my side would see that as you are seeking attention. Like, oh well, he must be lonely in the workplace, and you know he's got to come up with some kind of bullcrap to get people to talk to him. No, that's not. Walking myself into a hole here. It's just, it's, I don't know. I want people to come out. I want people to tell me, what is your problem? Because I want to know that. And I realize that some people are going to be shut in and be like, well, I don't want people to know my issues because I'll be 100% honest with you. I don't think but more than 5 or 6 people even know about my OCD. And of course, that's changing now. But so be it. Here I am. It's out to the world now. It is what it is.
again, I don't think we should tell people, like I don't think either side should necessarily, have to. Um, let me make this clear real quick before we move
Okay,
on.
okay.
The other side, I'm not saying that you guys take these courses and we don't take these courses and we just we do our thing, we just live our life the way that it's we want to live it. I'm saying
Hmm.
that both sides together need to both, obviously the ones on the emotional, spectrum, the ones that are having these issues mentally, should definitely be getting some type of free therapy. And if this becomes a problem in school anyway, if this is something that they're dealing with in high school, they should
Hmm.
be getting, some type of help, to cope, like you were saying, to talk about it, to cope with it, to become more, productive members of society. But on the other spectrum,
Hmm.
you're asking us to just, okay, get over, just come out with it, come on, get it over. I want you to tell
Hmm.
me your problem. And that's the
Yeah.
issue. That's the issue. Because we're already having problems trying to understand what's going on already. So we have you on the other side barking orders and saying, okay, get it over with. Come on, let's get this going. And all we're saying is that we don't want you to change. We don't want you to we're not going to turn away your help. We're not going to turn away, make you seem inferior or that you don't know what you're talking about. We just want you to be aware that there are people like us and that what to do if you see somebody struggling. Not to just come over and say, hey dude, get it together, you're a fucking puss.
Right.
And I apologize for that. I'll beep that out. But it's you know again, I know we could probably sit here for hours and talk about this, but
Oh yeah.
I don't know, I think we kind of understand that both sides need to have some type of, you know something needs to change where people aren't feeling like, on both sides, that they can't talk to the other side because they don't understand each other.
Well, I'm hoping these videos and I'm hoping this channel takes off, and I'm hoping this becomes the median for everybody. Because honestly, I've never seen anything like this before, where people are coming together and talking about this type of thing. Like I'm sure there's plenty of avenues out there,
Yeah,
but I want people to come here and see this, because you have your side, and you know how hard-headed I am,
yeah,
and you know how riled up me and you can both get on these situations, and I want people to see that, and then I want people to see that we always in the end come together on, we collaborate on something, even if we still completely disagree on it, we
yeah.
come to a mutual agreement of some sort.
Right. No, I agree. And let's because obviously again we could go on for hours, and uh I appreciate, so much, Johnny, for you coming on here and you talking, with me. And I know that obviously this isn't something that you have to deal with on a daily basis. So for you to even say that you'd come on here and talk about it, and it's not something that it's not, I know you don't think like this, but it's not your problem. You know what I mean? It's not your
Hmm.
problem. So for you to come up here and to kind of, put yourself out there and be willing to talk about it, I really appreciate it. I know that, again, we don't agree on everything, but like you said, all of this means something. This means that we're getting closer to a solution, if that makes sense.
Right.
So
Hmm.
uh, I'll end it there. Is there anything that you want to say to people before you get off?
No, I just hope people don't think I'm as mean as I come off. I just am very passionate about my own opinions, and it's always been hard for me to let somebody in, or help somebody come together with something like a different opinion than my own. Very, like I've said, I have very strong opinions, and that's where me and you butt heads. Is you're also the same way, but on the other side.
Right.
So that's all I've got.
Okay. Well, you're still our reigning champion. Obviously, you have no challengers at this time. Uh, I don't know what the future holds, guys. I don't know what is going to become of this interview series. It very well may be Johnny again. Who knows? But eventually, he is going to be on the series again. We're going to have him on. As far as what's next, I'm going to work on that. Give me a day or two to figure out maybe if I can get somebody on, or again, maybe we'll get with Johnny, we'll have an idea of what we can do to talk about something related or something completely different that we could definitely be of use to you guys out there. So with that said, I haven't looked at how long this was, and I apologize if this was super long again, but it was good. Johnny, I think, got something out of it. I definitely got something out of it. We aired some laundry, and hopefully you guys really look at this, because this wasn't fake. This wasn't a stage. There's no scripts. There's nothing around us telling us what to say. His
Hmm.
views are his views, my views are my views, and we really just wanted to bring this out. We're not getting paid for any of this. This is completely free of our time. So take this with a grain of salt. If you believe anything that we've said, that's great. If you don't, please don't be offended. We're not trying to offend anyone. We just want people to understand that this is an issue. There are millions of Americans alone that are suffering from these types of issues, either secretly or openly. And there are the other side that are trying to understand, like Johnny is. He's trying to understand, but he doesn't know the way to reach the other side. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bridge those two people. Okay, with that being said, thank you so much. I appreciate everybody watching. This is the end of this one, the end of the pain all of the time. I know you guys are ready to get out there and go play some football, or who knows, maybe you're ready just to go play some video games, because I know that's what I want to do. But anyway,
Heck yeah.
thank you. This is iHeart Anxiety out. Good night.
Night.